because sometimes I do have a hard time with that. Like, you know, we make it work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether it's like we film in my living room, we film at, you know, in our studio space when we can.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're filming here, like,
Yeah.
and I think that it would take, like, we saw what happened when we were like, let's treat this like a job. What's the next step in like something feeling like a job is that like you kind of like go there, and it's like you know what I mean, like, and you kind of associate it with that, and like, you know, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of hard work.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes I do have a hard time going from my desk is right next to my bed.
Yeah.
And you make it work, obviously.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean though. It's hard to
like separate the two.
Do you have a place that like feels like a workstation to you that like you feel like you do your work best at? I feel like mine's behind the counter at Elixir.
Yeah.
I hammered out like of the 77 hours for real estate. I would say that the 65 of them were done back there.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
And I just it was easy for me to zone in. You know what I mean? Like I'm just in a coffee shop, so like it's kind of the vibe anyway. Is to work somewhere like that. You know what I mean? It's not like I've tried to work in the living room, like at home, and like upstairs, like in the kitchen, like on the island, working there, but it's just not the same. People are walking around. The environment's not like.
Yeah, I used to like do work in bars sometimes. Yeah. I'm not gonna go do that now. Like, and then like it's also a trickier situation because it's like, oh, why can't you go out in public? It's like, well, I have to be able to hear the sound. Yeah. So even if you got noise canceling headphones on in a coffee shop, it don't matter. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. Just like maybe switch it up a little bit, and go somewhere else. I also miss like when it was nice outside, I could go sit in the park with my laptop.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah.
Or I could even just go sit on those benches that are near my house.
Just like look at the.
It's way different. Yeah, it's way different than staring at the wall. But it is also just like that's the most efficient way that I can get work done.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's down the road in store for us. Like, it'd be cool to have like the guests.
Yeah, we need something like that. So because you also don't want to just be inviting like. When we are inviting like people that you don't know, like just you don't want to just be like, hey stranger, come, this is my address, this is where I live all the time. Like,
yeah, it depends. Like the only people that we've had on who are people who already know where I like, you know, or who I would have no problem inviting to my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, as it becomes more of like a business thing, write off.
Yeah.
We just write it off, you know?
The whole thing, rent every month.
Yeah, but like, you know, we kind of, you know, we could probably cut some time out of the setup by like having things
ready all the time.
Yeah, and it's like the same, and like, yeah, we've learned what consistency can do for this podcast.
Yeah.
And that like being able to show up and say like in a half an hour ready to go versus like that's the tough part about going to new locations. We always make it work. But that's always going to be an added on. Yeah, exactly. It's always going to be an added on step. But you know, it's definitely taught me more. But I think we're getting also to a point where like neither one of us is going to have as much time. Where it's like we're not going to necessarily have like an entire day to dedicate to the podcast necessarily.
Yeah.
But I hope to continue to be able to still do that.
Yeah, no, that's the plan. The goal. That's the goal, at least. You have to work and be flexible, like when you can. And I think we've done a good job of that, even in the last couple of weeks. This is the first time that we've sat down in probably 3 weeks to actually record.
Yeah,
right?
A lot. Yeah, I mean, a lot has changed since.
Yeah, we sat down. The last time we recorded was
the last time. Yeah, but when was the last time? Well, I guess the last time that me and you solely did an episode was Thanksgiving.
Before. No, it was the day before that.
Oh, we did that one. Yeah.
We talked about.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
But I still that. How long ago was that?
That's got to be like 2 or 3 weeks ago now, right?
Yeah. I didn't know if
she was the 13th. So yeah, we interviewed Raven the 13th.
The 11th, I think.
Maybe, but that week. So 2.5 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah. Wow, that's a long time for us.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely the first time that we didn't do it every week.
Just putting out an episode though. Still rolling on the
No,
episode.
no need to. No, like we went on a little winter break, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Episodes kept coming out, but we weren't recording.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have that luxury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're still a month ahead.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, we talked about it, and like the fact that we talked about it and then made it happen and did it is.
Yeah. There was at one point in time we were recording episodes, and then we'd like scramble to be like, we got to get this out tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we also weren't putting any work into what it looked like or what it sounded like.
Yeah, now a lot more goes into that.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I think that shows. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very apparent.
Mm-hmm. I think the only one who really notices is me.
Yeah.
But that's just because no one could possibly be looking at it as analytically as I am, because I'm cutting every camera angle.
So, how you feeling? I'm gonna open this conversation up with a question I was asked while I was in church. How's your heart?
How's my heart? My heart is good, man. My heart is full. I'm really proud of the fact that I can tell the difference in myself from how I used to look at problems and failures and opportunities and things like that. Like, the last 2 months has completely changed that, and I think this podcast has a lot to do with it. But I've just like learned to trust myself a little bit better. And I don't think that that's a coincidence in terms of now being able to do something that I love for a living.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make sure that I let you know how big of a part of that you are. Because you're one of the people who always is like, and it's kind of something that I always know, but that is a good reminder to always have, which is that like, you're always like, this looks great, when I'm overthinking every single thing that I'm doing in terms of video or photos or things like that. And I just don't think that you go all the way back to those cocktail videos I used to make for you years ago, you know? Mm-hmm. And I just don't think that I'm here without your encouragement on that. And I'm like really grateful. I'm trying to give myself the credit for that, but I also want to acknowledge the people who helped me get there. And you're one of those people. And I'm just like, I'm excited. Like it's nice to kind of like take that in and accept that for yourself. That it's like you took responsibility and did what you had to do. And it's like a part of me is like I'm okay with the fact more so now that like it's not going to solve my problems, but it's like now I have something to focus on to get better at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that was good. I'm glad that you like I could be here for the journey and to see like like you said, like as far back as like those cocktail videos to like now.
It's
and
crazy,
like the stuff that you're doing on your own and the work that you're producing is like at a really high quality and like level. And it's good to see you like thriving, like living in your space, you know? Mm-hmm. Like there was times when even throughout this podcast where like sometimes you could tell it seems like you just like weren't in it, like it was like work to you that you didn't want to do, and like now it's like you just embrace it. You're just like, this is just more practice for me to hone my craft and to be really good at what I want to do, and like
every
really
problem,
that mindset.
Yeah, every problem that kind of comes up here is like I'd rather it come up here than it come up out on a shoot or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
That's and yeah, just kind of like like taking the risk of being like what's the worst that could happen if you ask somebody to do a video for them, or, you know, like
it's good to see you investing in yourself.
Yeah, I just noticed the difference. Like, but in a way I'm also used to that kind of like sitting on your hands and hoping an opportunity comes along, and then kind of like in the moment realizing that like you're at the wheel, you're at the reins right now, and just like at any moment you have the given power to like go work and get better at the thing that you're doing. And it's like, oh, are you anxious that you're behind at work? What do you mean? You know, you have the power to do that. And in a way it's nice to have that. Like, I think what I always wanted was flexibility, and at least to a certain extent I'm gonna get that. So that's just don't give up, you know?
Yeah.
I think like I've given up so many times. And I was just like, the other day I was like, just kind of like laying in bed and I just started crying because I was like, I could have been given up. I could have gone and worked at the highway department or the postal service or something like that. And for some reason I didn't. Even when I had absolutely zero faith in myself. And I'm just glad that like I hung on by that, whatever it was that kept it going. And this may evolve into other things, and I have no idea what I'll be doing down the road. But it's just like, you can finally be like, damn, like the kid who I was in middle school or high school would like be like, that's fucking sick what you're doing right now. Yeah. And you're getting paid? Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So I'm trying to like take that in and not like, you and I talked about like holding on to things. And it's more of being grateful for this versus being like, oh, I can't lose this, you know? There's more things down the road. And it's just another step, you know? But for the first time in a long time, in that area, I feel like I'm getting somewhere. But really, all along, I was getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Especially with this podcast. Like, something changed when you were like, why aren't you using the podcast as like your resume for video? Something changed because I just, for some reason, didn't look at it like that until you like really pointed it out.
Yeah. I mean, you literally set it up, produce it, and edit it every week. Like, if you're applying for a job and like they ask you your experience, you have quite a bit of it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you don't have to go into it and be like, I don't have experience working on like a major production. Like I've never helped on a TV show or a movie. Like, but you have worked.
I have.
Yeah,
I have. Yeah,
you have. But like, I'm just saying,
I know what
for
you
the
mean,
average person,
yeah,
like, it doesn't. You don't need to have that like high level experience.
No. I think that just like it's all different, and I think in a lot of ways, I think I just underestimated that like it's not all about like your skill, or like in my case, like how good your stuff looks. Like I think somewhere on the ones I realized that I was like, why aren't you just networking with people and looking for, you know, versus being caught up in, oh, my stuff can never look, you know, it's a weird thing to explain, but like just being that like, for a while I thought that the only way that I could get a job like that was by having the best looking stuff and the best camera and the most expensive things and the best lens and this and that and that. And then realizing that like, no, like sometimes like you can get a job because like you're a good friend, or because you show up when you're supposed to show up, or because you deliver things when they're supposed, you know, it doesn't have to be this thing where my video doesn't look like, you know, the most famous YouTuber. So I'm never, you know, just realizing that, no, like there's people who want to give you an opportunity, want to give you a chance. And that it doesn't have to get caught up into this wheel of like, oh, well, if my stuff's not getting like completely better and I'm not like this perfect, because the reality of what I do is that nobody is perfect anyway. And I watched a video the other day from Ryan Holiday, and he quoted Winston Churchill, and he said that perfection is better spelled paralysis. And that, well, I felt something. I was like, that hit me in the spot where
it resonated real quickly. Didn't take any time to think about it, just hit right away, and you're like, gear switch.
Yeah, you lose the. Yeah, and went on to just talk about how you just lose so much more getting caught up in perfection than any mistake or shortcoming could kind of get you.
Spending all that time being like, when's it going to be perfect? When's it going to be perfect?
Yeah.
It already is, man.
And I'm not saying that
this is my work for the day.
Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm like amazing at what I do, but it's often the people who are already gifted at what they do who overthink that and try to make everything perfect.
Yeah.
And you kind of gain nothing by just like holding on to something. I saw it was The Alchemist, the producer, and somebody asked him, how do you know when a project is done? And he's like, it's like when I get emotional.
Yeah, because you feel it coming to an end.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's the end of a relationship, whatever. It's not.
Yeah.
Nothing can be subtracted or added from it.
Yeah.
It's like the end of anything. And
it's a good way to look at stuff. Really
but then I realized that like I do that every week with this podcast. There's always a moment where I'm like, oh shit, it's done.
Yep.
Yeah. And like I've gotten good at this, that I don't spend as much time on it as I would on like a different video that I'm at, a more complex thing. Yeah. But I think that's a good way of looking at things, that you kind of can't get what you want out of it if you don't release it. Yeah.
You have to also be aware of when you feel it. You have to know your emotions and your feelings and just be able to, this is it. I feel that I've completed this and there's nothing else that I can give to it.
Yeah, and just that over-obsession.
Yeah. This is just two guys doing Rick Rubin impressions.
Open a random book. I am your creative wizard. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for letting me go there for a little while. But I think that what I'm trying to focus on right now is embracing that the moment I'm at right now is what I prayed for years. Like fucking years. And I'm trying to be like, you need to enjoy this instead of getting so caught up in, am I going to lose this? Well, what's the next thing? Am I making enough? Whatever. Like, I could go fucking on and on for hours about things that I would overthink in that. And I'm just trying to come back to that moment where I'm at right now, where it's just like, hey, you feel that calm in your head, dude? That's because you're fucking doing it right now. You're not fantasizing about where your life should be. And is my life perfect? No, but it's like, at least I feel like I have some direction. Yeah. So I'm excited. I've got a lot of videos coming soon, so stay tuned. Yeah. Lots of stuff.
Oh.
Videos, photos, maybe even some graphics.
Yeah.
Don't get crazy.
Stepping up. The only way to find out is to try it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's like you prayed to be this busy, so
now you're
put
busy.
your head down and
enjoy it.
Yeah. It's like you prayed that people would be hitting you up like, edit this video for me, do this, do that. You know? So grab that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, exactly. But there is a part of me that also loves that, like, planning and setting up and like having like what we kind of set up and talked about before this, which was just like, we're so far ahead that we need to figure out where these episodes come out and like where this goes. And then when you multiply that into like, oh, well, this day I've got this day I've got that going on, and you're back and forth. And I'm not saying that being busy is the best thing, but
it is for you apparently though. I'm noticing that just listening to you talk about it, like the excitement of like having this many projects to work on and knowing that you're going to have more coming is like something that you clearly like are excited about, and that's a good thing.
It's exciting, but it is overwhelming too. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, anything that's good for you is a little bit.
Oh yeah, exactly, and that's. It's that. It's just like the job's never done. Job's not finished. You know, and I think we live in that bouncing around from state to state of, oh, I'll have it all once I get the job I want, or once I get the partner that I want, or the apartment or the house, the dog, the whatever your picture perfect thing looks like. And then maybe you get one of those things and you realize that you're not even being grateful for that thing. And you're not, it's just like, what good does focusing on the thing that you lack if you're not going to embrace that thing that, like, it's like you prayed for this or manifested this or whatever a year ago. You would die for this thing. And then now you're going to be like, oh no, let me not enjoy that I earned that. Let me move on to, oh, I got the job, but yeah, now I'm not in the relationship that I want to be in. Or now I don't live in the place that I want to.
Yeah, Jay Shetty talks about that all the time.
Yeah.
He's always just like, he always brings up this one friend that he says, he's just like, yeah, my business like didn't do that great last year, but it was like the year that he like fell in love and like got engaged, and he's like, but look what else prospered in your life this year. Like, can't be so focused on those other things, like that you eliminate what actually has been happening for you and taking place. The things to be grateful for.
Yeah, the focus on the lack is never going to get you anywhere. And that's like, I swear it happens to me 20, 30 times a day. Because also part of it is that it's like the holidays and that hasn't really kicked in and started yet. So I'm thinking like, oh, like, shouldn't you be, like, my mind is like all over the place, like trying to move on to the problem to solve. And it's like the problem or problems that were so big in your mind over the last few months have worked themselves out. So take some time to be grateful for that versus, yeah, I understand the job's not done yet, but don't skip over the fact that you earned this and you got here with hard work. Discipline, consistency.
Yeah.
I just don't think that if you and I don't get together and be like, this podcast is a job now, I don't think that I'm in the place that I'm at right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it worked out well for you. It's worked out well for us. We're rolling.
It has. We've been rolling. No signs of slowing down.
No, not at all. A lot's changing. But that's what we talked about. We literally sat down. I don't know. The episode might not even be out yet.
It was August. Wait, which one?
When we were just like, this is what we want from the fall, like going into the, we talked about it, like the changing of the seasons and like how we wanted things to be different and in a different place in the spring. And it's like it's about having the consistency to work through the winter. Like we just keep working when nobody's watching and keep doing it and showing up and doing the thing that you want to do. And eventually you'll see the changes and and it's just starting. And like, imagine what it'll look like going into next winter, and then the work that you'll do in the winter to get to next spring. You know
what we were doing last year around Christmas, or at least what I was doing, I guess. I went to that pyramid scheme job interview.
Yeah.
That was right around this time of the year. It was right before Christmas.
Yep.
That's what I was doing last year.
Yeah. I was miserable. I was working a job I hated, hours I hated, living in the city, fucking just drowning because there was so much noise around me, but I was just like alone all the time. and it sucks.
Yeah. Can like where you were at that moment, can you even fathom where you're at right now?
Oh, it's kind of crazy, but
right?
I know, but
in all sorts of different ways.
But I feel like for me, like, I don't know, like we talked about it when I came home, like me and you when we went to the diner that morning. I was just like, bro, I'm just gonna keep doing what I was doing, and I'm not gonna stop because like it seemed to be working, and like we'll work through this right now. It was a transition then, and that like.
What was that, like the first week in January?
It was January 5th was when I moved home. On Friday night, January 5th.
I went to go see Ferrari that night.
Randy Orton made his debut on SmackDown. Returned. I was hyped. My life had just flipped upside down, and the only thing that good that happened that day is by the time my sister had brought me home from the city, Friday Night SmackDown was like almost over, but I got to catch the end of it. And it was like the first time Randy Orton came back in mad long. I was hyped.
It was a sign, yeah.
I was hyped. But
yeah, that's a.
Yeah, no, I think about that. I said to you, I can't wait to see where I am next January 5th when we were sitting at that diner. Yeah. I was like, I know it'll be different and I know I'll be in a better place. And now clearly am, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't even be able to like that even just a year ago, that version of me who got on that train on his way home that night and was like, "You're a fucking idiot." Like, how could you like think that this was an opportunity? And a part of me thought that was just like, of course, like the opportunity that would be given to me would be something that was, you know, at the very least, like shitty. Would have sucked.
Yeah.
I couldn't even
What
like.
was it, door to door for Verizon?
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile.
It was like getting people third party wise to sign up for T-Mobile.
Yeah. Crazy.
Brutal.
And now you're getting paid to just
Brutal.
take pictures and fucking video. Do what you love.
Yeah, that version, but that person who was on that train couldn't even like grasp the fact that this is where I'm at. That person probably couldn't grasp that like I'm not drinking alcohol anymore.
Yeah. I know. It's crazy to think back. I'm thinking about what the person you were would think about who you are now. Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't even matter because this is where you want to be. Hopefully they would just be proud. They'd just be like,
I don't.
We got to where we were going.
I think it would surprise even myself what like a little bit of consistency could do.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm really not there. Or I'm not close to being, whatever it is. But what has happened has given me just a little bit of a taste of what happens when you start to believe that possibilities are just possible for you.
It's like that video of when, it's the, what is it, the 08 men's basketball team? I think so. Because Kobe would still be alive.
The job's not finished?
When Kobe,
job's not finished.
They all went out the night before. There's a video that's like pretty famous, and I don't know if
I'm sure what you're talking about. So
they're all coming in, like Dwayne Wade and LeBron and all of them, because they went to the club the night before the fucking the first night they got to wherever they were playing. I think it was Beijing that year. And Kobe was coming out of the fucking hotel to go to the gym when they were all coming home. And then they all started the next day, like, all right, Kobe's in the gym. We got to be in the gym with him practicing that early. And it's just that. It's what he used to talk about all the time. It's just like putting in that consistent effort. You're going to be better. You're going to be better. You just got to give it time. And I think a year ago, to now where you are from that job, there's been a good portion now where you've been pushing forward every day, a little something. So it's going to stack up. And it's good that you're starting to see it. Yeah. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And I literally was just saying how it's just like I'd rather the mistakes happen here than happen on
set.
Yeah, exactly. And every it's like every time you forget to press record, or you miss the clip, or you mess up audio, it's just like more practice to learn from. It's literally I was just reading it this morning in Rich Dad Poor Dad, which I'm almost done with, by the way. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it to you. It's just like some days you're not in like the money mindset.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I haven't. I haven't been reading a lot lately, to be honest.
But I find it very easy to drop into the self-improvement reading space. But sometimes I'm like, I don't want to think about real estate or my bank account right now or whatever it is when I read that book. Yeah. But he was talking about how there's that people lose, and he uses money, but it can be applied to anything, which is that you lose so much more, or in his case, you stay poor because you're unwilling to take a risk on yourself. And maybe you're unwilling to learn a new skill, or maybe you're unwilling to look stupid for admitting that you don't know.
That's a big one. I feel like everybody's afraid of that. You don't want to say, I don't know, even though you probably should.
Yeah, it's just like it's like that. It's like that. Like when somebody makes a joke that you don't get, but then you laugh anyway. But then somebody could flip around on you and just be like, "That wasn't even a joke. I don't know what that I made that up. What are you laughing at?" It's like why do you need to know so bad?
Exactly.
Why do you need to understand it so bad? But
it's a good thing that you don't know, because now you have something to learn.
Yeah, and I think that was what got in my way for so long, was that I thought that I knew everything, and then you
I
realize,
can see that.
huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I knew so little. Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, you're not wrong. I could,
I've been there though.
Yeah.
I was also that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought I knew everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I don't mean like I have all the knowledge in the world. I just
Knew
mean
everything
like,
about one small subject, little tiny category of life.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think you get caught up in in like what you don't know, where you focus on things like that versus just jumping in. Or for me, in my case, it was in a way admitting to myself that I didn't have it all figured out.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good wrap point.
No, I just don't think that there's any other way to do it besides like this.
Yeah.
Like we took like 2 weeks off, and I think like even at this point, if something were to come up, we could take a month off if we wanted to.
Yeah, and I think
If something very important came up, but
maybe in August.
yeah.
Maybe next August we'll take a month off.
Yeah, but by then we'll be probably more ahead than we are now.
Damn.
And we can just start saying like, oh no, this one comes out this day. This one will come. No, this one will hit better on.
You think we can get a year ahead?
50, like
I want you guys to know
52.
nothing about my current life.
52 episodes.
You
ahead.
can live in my past. I don't want to be there anymore.
50. Yeah, we'll be 52 episodes ahead. I mean, I'm sure that there are podcasts out there that are there.
You think so?
Well, think about it. Like, so we could do the opposite of that.
We get 52 weeks behind?
No. I mean that like instead of recording every week, actually it's really not the opposite, but it's the extreme of that, which is instead of doing an episode every week, we could go like a month and do an episode every day.
Yeah.
And then like and in a month we'd be over a half a year ahead.
Yeah. But what the fuck do we talk about every day?
Well,
that'd be a crazy challenge.
Right?
Podcast every day for 30 minutes.
Oh. Or we do, or like we try to, we go on like a guest tour where we try to do 30 guests in 30 days.
Yeah. Just showing up at random places and picking a person. We'll be in Herald Square next week. We're going to grab one of you guys. All right. That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't have much. It's always...
I'm out. I'm de-micing already. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I gotta go. We're in my house, but I gotta leave.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know how to turn that camera off.
The big red button.